Hi again, welcome to task 2. In task 2 I have given you some examples of some methods of multiplication. Please make sure you've had a look at those before you look at these videos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those methods to multiply 42 and 16. And you'll notice I've used the word multiply because when you have got the sum of two numbers, you will add them together to find that sum, and for the product you will multiply them. So the word product means multiply. So if you've got the product of 2 and 5 is 10, the product of 7 and 4 is 28, the product of 0 and 9 is 0, of course. So that's what product means. We've got some different methods here. As I work through these, I would like you to think about what's good about the method that I use or what's bad about the method that I use. I've got my own opinions, but I'd like you to come to your own. So for the first method, it was something like this. So we've got 42 times 16, which means I've got 16 lots of 42, or you could also find out with 42 lots of 16. I think it's easier to think about this as 16 lots of 42. So I'm going to write out 42, 42, 42, 42. So that's 4 so far. Another 4 takes me to 8. Another 4 takes me to 12. And another 4 takes me to 16. Okay, so I'll add these ones up and then this will give me the same. And again, this might not be the method you would use, but it is a method that is quite good. Or it certainly works. I might not think it's very good. Okay, so I've added those up, 168, then I've got 4 lots of 168. I've got 168, if I add 168, so I've got 236, and then I'll have another 236 from these two. So 236 add 236 is 472. So 42 times 16 must be equal to 472. Okay, so that's the first method. And if I go to the textbook, oops, that's this method here that you can see up the top, method 1. Okay, so method 2 might be what you're more used to. It's certainly what I was more used to when I was at school. I'm doing 42 times 16. First of all, in here, so for this one here I did 23 times 5. This one here, the first thing I'm going to do, oops, sorry, is 42 times 6. And for this example here, I did 23 times 10. And for this example here, I'm going to do 42 times 10. Because this 1 here, although it just looks like a 1, it's actually a 10. Oops, what is going on here? So yeah, 42 times 10. So just a wee reminder why this works. You're doing 42 times 16. First of all, you are finding 42 times 6 and then 42 times 10. So what we'll find first of all is 6 lots of 42. Then we'll find 10 lots of 42 and then you'll see what we do after that. It will hopefully make sense. So 42 times 6, 2 times 6 is 12. 4 times 6, 24, carry the 1 is 25. So that's 252, and then 42 times 10 is 420. Now already, this makes me think I've made a mistake with the one before, because I can see that these are going to add up to give me much more than 472. So one of these is correct and one of these is wrong. So 2 add 0 is 2. 5 add 2 is 7, and 2 add 4 is 6, and that gives me 672. Whereas before, I'm very, very silly, I only had 472. So the 72 looks correct. I'm going to give you a second to see if you can spot the mistake before I write in what it is. Okay, so you can see over here, I have added 100 and 100 and 100, and I've got 200, whereas that should really be 300. So this should be 336, this should be 336, and this should be 336. 6 and 6 is 12, and that gives me 672. So that was very silly of me, but these things happen, mistakes happen in maths, it's not a big deal. As long as we spot them, we learn from them. And that was 42 times 16 is indeed 672. So 672. Okay, then we've got a third method, and we've got 42 times 16. So just to compare it to the one before, we had 23 times 15. And for this one, we've got 42 times 16. Okay, so 42, I hope you agree, is the same as 40 add 2. And 16 is the same as 10 add 6. Okay, and this method is known as the grid method. And we'll see that it hopefully gives the same answer as what we've done before. Okay, so first of all, 40 times 10 will give us 400. 40 times 6 is 240. 2 times 10 is 20, and 2 times 6 is 12. So what we've done is we've multiplied all these different parts of this multiplication, and then what I can do is just add up those different areas, or different numbers I should say, different values. So I've got 2. Notice how I've lined up my columns as well, that might be something you're familiar with. I get 672, so 42 times 16 is equal to 672. Okay, and that's the third method. I'm going to show you another way of doing the third method. This is just for a bonus, I suppose. And it's another way of doing it if you are comfortable with negative numbers. You might not be. You might not want to look at this just now, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just like using different ways of doing things sometimes. So we've got 42 times 16. So again, 42 I'm going to write down as 40 plus 2. Now, for 16, instead of writing it as 10 add 6, I'm going to write it down as 20 take away 4. In fact, I'm not going to write it quite like 20 take away 4. I'm going to write it like that, 20 take away 4. So 20 times 40 is 800. 20 times 2 is 40. Then 40 times negative 4, well, or 40 times 4 is 160. So 40 times negative 4 is negative 160. And then negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Now the same thing, we can do the same thing as we did before. I'm first of all going to do 800 add 40. So that will give me 840. Now instead of adding 160 and adding 8, you might have a good idea of what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to take away 160 and take away 8. So if I've got 840 and I take away 8, well that's quite a simple one. So 840 take away 8 is going to be 832. And then I'll subtract 160. And that gives me 672. So again, that's just one last way of doing 42 times 16 and showing that that's 672. You don't need to worry about that one. Negative numbers isn't something we usually do until a bit later on in first year, but I just thought I'd share that because I had the urge. Okay, and what I'd like you to do now is make up some of your own like this. You can use the different methods, think about which methods you like, which methods you don't like, and again, it's up to you whether you send me your work just now or we can wait until August and have a chat about it then. Okay, thank you.